So I will talk about another mid-air collision today. Previously, I have discussed about the Dallas mid-air collision back then between a B-17 and a P-63. And I made a few videos on that one during that incident when it happened, a very tragic incident. And a lot of aviational experts, our fellow aviational brothers, they gave their lives. But for me, the bottom line of that one was that B-17 pilot should have seen P-63 because it was constantly in a left-hand turn, left bank. So the visibility for him to see P-63 was more than P-63 because P-63 was belly up, belly towards the aircraft. So there was no way it would have seen B-17. Eventually, the final report put all the blame on the ATC guy. So you can go back and see those videos and see how I step by step, minute by minute, second by second, height by height, broke that down. And no one has done these detailed videos. I haven't seen any channels that have done so to the point. Second to second data I have shown in that one side by side. So that's in my playlist. You can, if you want, you can check it out. So the latest KC-135s to the gas stations in the air, the aviational gas stations, allegedly they had a mid-air collision, and one of them survived and one of them crashed in Iraq. I will not go into the details of what aircrafts those were, what tail numbers those were, and where did they crash, what happened, because you can see all the news on Blanco Lario's channel. He has 10 minutes video. He has explained everything. He has read everything out, whatever the report was, so period, done. But the questions I'm going to put in front of you today, if anyone has the answers or anyone has its own opinion, please come up with and drop in the comment box below. So, two of the aviational the gas stations, they take off from Tel Aviv airport and then they go towards Iraq in a friendly country, so-called, and they start refueling the F-18 Hornets for the Operation Epic Fury. Make sense? They were in the air for about 12 hours, and one of them crashed, and one of them came back with 2/3 or 1/3 of its tail fin gone. The vertical stabilizer was gone, and it landed back, but the other one didn't, and 6 of the crew members, they gave their lives up. So I will talk about how I think it's unlikely to be a mid-air collision. And again, my theories are different from the public perception, from the state narrative, definitely. And I know my channel doesn't have much reach, but again, something has to be put out aviationally. And I have a bit of experience of flying. I've flown formation phases as well. So, question number 1. Which one was the lead aircraft and which one was the trailing aircraft? Because it wasn't a head-on-head collision, or it wasn't like in P-63 and B-17 that one was banking in and the other went into that one. It wasn't that case either. Why? Because these aircrafts, mostly when they are not refueling, they are in they call it the cell tight formation. And the altitude difference should be 1,000 feet from the leading aircraft to the trailing aircraft, wherever it is on the wings, it's in right behind, under the exhaust of the engines. These are the two positions they can be. Because the trailing aircraft can be on top of the leading aircraft, because, again, the visibility, he won't be able to see it. So The trailing aircraft has to be under the lead aircraft. So it's either here, the trailing aircraft is here, or on the right, or on the left side. So that's one of the cases. Now we have to see under what conditions they're going to be very close to each other. Condition number one was that KC-135, one of the KC-135 was refueling the other KC-135, so they were very close to each other. And Blancalerio on his channel has already denied this one.
It's the KC-135R/RT aircraft is the only model of KC-135 that can receive fuel. So this was not a mid-air collision during mid-air refueling.
And by seeing the tail number of the aircraft, if you check the Wikipedia, you would know that these were not the receiver tankers. They were just the givers. They give out the fuel, so they were not giving fuel to each other because they don't have that pod on top, that hole on top that gets the nozzle into the aircraft and start refueling each other. So that was not the case. So they did not come close to each other because of refueling each other. So this theory is done. Second one, they say probably there were clouds, and because of the clouds, the trailing wingman couldn't see the leading aircraft, so they came closer. Well, the problem with that is that the weather reports on that day, the cloud ceiling was at 18,000 feet. And these aircrafts, they operate at about 23 to 27,000 feet because that's the optimal for their whatever limitations are. And to stay away from the ground attacks, there are many, because they're in an active war zone, even if it's a friendly zone, but still they want to stay away from being hit by any ground missiles, ground-to-air missiles. So they operate between 23 to 27,000 feet. So they were far above the clouds. So visibility was not the issue. There were CB clouds present in that area, but a pilot does not want to, and they do not fly into CB clouds under any conditions. They would divert away. They would not go into those clouds. And this was not a critical situation, so they were not flying into clouds at all. So they were totally visual. But it's nighttime, so we can say they could not know the depth of each other. But then there is an SKE. This is the term used for the instrument flying. Although you cannot have a formation while flying instrumentally by the IFR conditions, but the instrument of the aircraft, they can tell you how to keep away from the other aircraft. And the sudden turbulence on one aircraft means the same amount of turbulence on the other aircraft too. So it's like a speed breaker. The first one goes up the speed breaker, the second one would also go up the speed. So it's always categorized. It catters right away. So that's also not the case, that because of the turbulence, they came very close to each other and hit each other. So this theory of that they bumped into each other tracks is instrumentally not possible and visually not possible. If it was IFR conditions, their instruments, they would have been focused inside the cockpit, not flying visually. Then the instruments would have told them, okay, you are getting closer to the other aircraft, and the lead aircraft would know that an aircraft is coming closer to it, so they would do the evasive action. But here, we are not given that kind of report, so keep this aside too. That even if they were flying IFR formation, keeping 2,000 feet, like 300 meters horizontally, and 1,000 feet vertically. This is the SOP. There's no way that they could come closer unless they have to refuel each other. And in this case, we know that that has been ruled out already. So let's move on to the next one. Now, we bypass the refueling. We bypass the accidental turbulence made them get to each other. Then where did these aircraft actually hit each other? That's the main question. Now, we know, at least for sure, we know that one of the aircraft's vertical stabilizer, the tail fin, has been hit. And no other damage has been seen on the pictures. So that means at least this aircraft has hit something of the lead aircraft. Now, I will talk about both the scenarios. Was this surviving aircraft a lead aircraft, and the crashed aircraft was a trailing aircraft that was a wingman? Let's talk about this first. And we know that only the vertical stabilizer has been hit. So was it the trailing aircraft's nose that hit it? And if it was the nose only, and the nose could not have damaged this little, you know that these aircraft have big noses, the whole vertical stabilizer would have been into the air, gone. And both the aircrafts would have, or at least the trailing one would have survived. But this one, the vertical stabilizer failure totally, because it can't just kiss it and then come back. No. So definitely that was not nose to the surviving aircraft tail, which is the lead aircraft at the moment. Okay, then probably one of the wings cut it, right? Lead aircraft, and it overshot, beating all the systems installed on the aircraft. Visual things, visibility was also good, but let's say the visibility was not good. You couldn't see the lights, and faster, and a lot faster than the lead aircraft. Normally, the lead aircrafts, they keep constant speed. They do not alter much. Their throttle is fixed, and they do 15 to 20 degrees of bank. And even in IFR condition, if we assume that there were clouds in the sky, they would still they would still go for 15 to 20 degrees of bank. That's it. This is the movement. Even in jet formation, we do the same thing. The lead aircraft, they do not go, and the top kinds of turns. No, it's all coordinated really smooth, and so that the trailing aircraft follows you wherever you go. So here, these are bigger aircraft, so they can't do like 60 degrees of bank or 90 degrees of bank or G turns. No, the turns would be very, very simple. But let's say, so this aircraft overshot. Now these they go at about 400 to 500 kilometers per hour, let's say, subsonic aircrafts, so below supersonic. So this has to be that fast, even if the wing, one of the wings, right, has hit the vertical stabilizer. It has to be at least 100 to 200 kilometers faster than this aircraft. And why would he do that? Is the ghost after him? So this possibility, and let's suppose the vertical stabilizer, let's say this is the vertical stabilizer, it was 2/3 was cut by the wing, then this wing must have been damaged. And if this, and definitely that one crashed because something far worse has happened than this aircraft, the surviving aircraft. So if the whole wing was gone, within a second, this aircraft with that much speed would have turned because the drag is more. This wing has lift, and this wing is gone. They both would have collided in the air, and none of them would have survived, but one has survived. So that's also not the scenario. Now let's go to the second scenario, that the crashed aircraft was in lead, and the surviving aircraft was in the trail. It was the wingman. So now let's go this way. This is the lead aircraft, and the vertical stabilizer. Let me make the vertical stabilizer. My thumb is the vertical stabilizer, and only that one is damaged. Nothing else of the aircraft is damaged. So if it were under, again, it has to be faster than the lead aircraft. Okay, let's say it was faster, and probably it cut that aircraft into half, or it made a huge damage on the belly. But from the tail to the what you call, how can I say, the fuselage, the tail to the fuselage distance denies that, because the aircraft would not be pitching down, it would be pitching up. So even on the ground certain level conditions, the nose of these aircraft is tipped up a bit. I mean, it's not that they are like this. So if the tail would have touched the belly of the lead aircraft, the nose would have touched the bottom belly part of the leading aircraft, nose, under the nose belly portion too. So there would have been two damages on this surviving aircraft. One on the tail, 1/3 is gone, and the nose tip. and then hitting another aircraft at this speed, like this, both the aircraft would have been gone down. Now let's see, the lead aircraft is here, and the trailing aircraft is here, and it has cut one of the wings, right? Because these are the only two scenarios we can, there's no other way. It can't be inverted on top of that one and hit it, and that aircraft went down, and then that continued. Impossible for these aircrafts to go inverted. So it's either the belly or side wings. So side wing, again, if it has cut the wing of the aircraft, this aircraft won't be flying with one wing. This would have gone immediately as soon as the wing is gone. And that wing, where did it go? It should have done something. Okay, let's say it went behind both the aircraft, but this aircraft would have completely gone into this one, and both of them have been gone. So that was my 2 cents. If you have any questions, drop in the comment box. Personally, I think, and these are going to be the golden words, because Air Force does not public their findings, and the reports are occasionally published, and especially the Operation Epic Fury, things happening around the 109 aircrafts have been lost on both sides. So let me not be the judge who lost more, who lost less, but there have been losses both sides. So this report would not come out, but these questions which I'm leaving, my personal view is that this aircraft was either shot by friendly fire, although they have already said, no, it's not the case. But of course, you are not going to say, you're not going to tell the truth. By F-18 Hornet, who was being refueled, and probably human error, it hit something, and the AIM-9 or anything that was on that, the short-range missile, and it hit this, the refueling tanker. And then those debris, those sharpnels, one of them hit the one at the back, which was 1,000 feet away or 2,000 feet away or 2,000 below. And that's why only the tail fin was gone. So that is one of my theories. Or again, because I'm trying to be, more unbiased towards Iran, that Iran has shot them at 27,000 feet. The resistance forces in Iraq do not have this capability, and from Iran, they have this capability or not, we still don't know, but this is not a mid-air collision, period. See you next time. Allah Hafiz.